Welcome to video 2 in this series. I've been backstage. This video, I'm going to go into the songwriting process, which is again something that people told me they were super interested in, is where songs come from, how they happen, where the inspiration comes from. And so in this video, I'm actually going to write a song right in front of you. I'm going to edit out the boring bits, or I'm going to speed them up. But I'm going to show you the process. So rather than just tell you how to do it, you're going to see it happen before your very eyes. So I don't know if you've ever seen that before or experienced that before, but it usually is a pretty hidden away thing that happens. You know, people normally, when they do their songwriting, they're kind of tucked away privately somewhere, which I am too, but there's this little portal into your world. So I'm going to write a song. If you haven't seen video 1, I highly recommend you go back and watch that, because I talked all about creativity and how I tap into creativity to do the songwriting. And so that'll set up this video really well. So I recommend you go do that now and then come back to this video. And yeah, so in this video, we're going to write a song. I'm going to give you a little bit of background into how I think about songwriting and how my songwriting journey evolved. And then I'm going to play you a song at the end as well that relates to the story I'm about to tell you. So as I said in the last video, creativity is really a pretty mysterious process. And songwriting is as well. It's one of those things that I've had to just discover piece by piece over time how it works. But there are some definite patterns and things that help me go through the process. Just like if someone is a furniture maker or a chef, they have a process that they go through. And I often use the example of a furniture maker, because the first time, you know, a furniture maker goes to make a piece of furniture, I'm going to guess that it's like really bad and it's got jagged edges and it doesn't even hold its own weight, and you would never want to sit on it, right? It doesn't have structural integrity. And then over time, they put that aside and then they build another chair. And then they build another chair. And over time, you figure out what all the weak points are and how to make it something that works. And it's a similar thing in songwriting. Songwriting is a practice. In the beginning, you know, almost 100% of my songs were bad. And then it slowly shifts over to be like, okay, well, my songs are usually pretty good and I still have some bad ones, but most of the time I can sort of get it right. So there's this process, and I'm going to talk through a little bit about what that is and how that all works. So one of the things about songwriting is that it can happen in lots of different places. People often ask, you know, like, where do you write your songs? Do you write them at home, or do you write them when you're touring and things like that? And I have written songs when I'm touring, but I tend to find it much more difficult, because in the last video I talked about to do songwriting, you really need time and space where you can sort of get into this open mode and be creative and explore and play. And so I'll tell you a couple of the places where I've written songs, and then I'll tell you the story of sort of my songwriting journey. But I've written songs while I've been on tour. I've written songs in stairwells when I've been, on tour between shows. I've written in the car while someone else is driving. I've written in a tent when I'm camping. I've written in a little tree house in northern New South Wales in the rainforest. There's lots of different ways of writing songs. They can happen anywhere, but for the most part, they happen in the studio for me, where I sit down and I decide to, you know, have a songwriting session. And so the story of my, the discovery of songwriting for me was that I would sit down to write songs, and I would sort of get freaked out a little bit. I would sit down and write it, and, you know, it wouldn't come together, and I'd get really self-critical, and then I would, you know, abandon the song. And then when I was 27 or 28, I went on a 10-day silent meditation retreat. And that sounds like the opposite of a songwriting retreat, because you can't do any writing, you can't sing, you can't talk, you can't do any of those things. But what I noticed after about 6 days of this meditation every day, I started to get really vivid creative ideas. I was hearing, melody lines, and I was thinking of lyric things, and obviously because I was meditating, lots of things were just coming into my mind, lots of old memories and ideas and things like that. And it took me about 6 days to notice this pattern and then realize, I can use all of this stuff in my songwriting. I mean, maybe I don't need to sit down and try and force out a song. Maybe I really need to sit back a little bit more and allow space for that creativity to come up, and then sort of document it and work with it and then play with it and turn it into a song. So I would say that was one of the most important realizations I've had around songwriting, is that it's not about sort of getting in and making a song happen, but to just sit back and trust my creativity. I know I'm a creative person, that something will arise, something will come up, and I can start to follow the thread. And so once I had that experience, I decided that I would, I went on tour in Europe in 2008, and I met this awesome Icelandic songwriter called Svavar Knútur, and we went on tour around Iceland. We did some shows, and then he mentioned that his family has this cabin in the north part of Iceland, and my ears just pricked up, and I thought, maybe I could go there and do a silent meditation songwriting retreat. Just have no distractions and just create this time and space for the ideas to come up, and then just write the songs. And that's what I did. So a year later, I went back to Iceland, and I went up to this cabin in the north of Iceland for a month. And my aim was to write a song each day, and to kind of use this meditation idea of just kind of waiting for songs to arrive, essentially. So I would sit in front of this big plate glass window that looked out into this mountain, this fjord, and into the big open sky and this field. And I would drink a cup of tea. I would have a pot of tea, herbal tea, and I would just drink tea and look out the window, and I would do some journaling, and then ideas would come, and then I'd grab my guitar and I would start writing them. So I'm gonna play one of those songs later, one of the first songs that I wrote in the cabin. So yeah, once I had that experience of writing a song every day and sort of trusting my creativity, that's really where my practice completely changed, where I realized if I need to write a song, I can write a song anytime I need to. And the creativity is always there. I just sort of need to get myself out of the way to let it happen. So something I didn't mention is, as we're going through this, there's a little workbook that you can download on the side, or on this side somewhere. And you can follow along, and you can see some of these different things I'm about to talk about. But also there are some exercises in here if you want to attempt to write a song. I highly recommend you give it a go and see what happens. I'm always excited when people try stuff out like that and then, let me know that they've written a song. To me, that's super exciting. So there are a few things that I do that really help to prepare me to write songs. So some of it is that I know that I have to accept that I don't know where the song is going, ever, really. Because if I knew exactly where it was going, it would sort of be written and I would just have to write it out. But I never quite know what's going to come next and what turn it's going to take or where it needs to go next. And so I've had to sort of accept that I need to just be present with it, allow it to unfold, and accept that I don't know where it's going. I have to trust that there's always something in the box, which means in improvisational theatre or improv, they have this exercise, which is, if you just imagine I'm coming to you now with a box, and I have a box here, and there's something inside the box. And then I don't know what it is, but you don't know what it is either. But then if I open the lid and I ask you what's in the box, something will come to mind. So to me, in this case, there was a flower. So there was a flower in the box. And then if I just put that box aside and I got another box and I said, what's in this box? And I open it up and you tell me what's in the box. This time for me, there was a frog. But doing this exercise sort of proved to me that there's always something in the box. Meaning, if I create a time and space to write a song, I'll always come up with something. The next point was, I always have to remind myself that it's called playing music. So it's not called like extracting music or doing music, or sometimes called making music. But the play aspect is really important, that I have to stay in the open mode, stay in the play state. And there are a number of other things that are in the workbook that I won't go through. So I want to get to the songwriting part, and then I want to write a song, and then I'm going to play you a song. So where to start? So if I'm ever sort of looking for a thread to begin a song, I do what I described in the previous video of my creative triad, songwriting triad, where I get into this open mode and this state of songwriting. And then normally from that will be a theme or a concept. So something will come up of like a memory of something that happened, or an idea, like, I don't know, love is eternal, or death, even though it's scary, makes us appreciate life, something like that. So once there's a concept, then I'll normally tap into what is the mood or the feeling or the emotion that I'm feeling when I think about that thing. And then that will start to inform me of, lyrics and things that might spring out from that. But usually once I tap into the emotion, more imagery will come up, or a memory, and I'll tap into that, and then a story or phrases or lyrics or couplets might start to come out of that. If I start to just describe the scenery using the language, that's where some of the lyrics start to form. So that's sort of the first part of coming up with the seed or the concept of the song. That's sort of the emotional, internal part of writing the song. And then once that is sort of established, then more of the musical elements start to come in. So one of the first things that I think about is tempo. Like, what is the speed of the song? And this was something that I discovered when I was asked to write music for a feature-length film called Bunny. And I was given a scene, and I sort of had to go through this process, but I never consciously knew that I was going through this process where I would be observing that imagery, and then I would be feeling into what is the emotion here, what is the action, what's the story, and then I would have to, before I started writing anything, I would have to think of a tempo. What is the speed of the song that matches this imagery, and the mood and everything like that. So anyway, that's tempo. Then we get into chords and lyrics. So people often ask, do I start with the chords or do I start with the lyrics? And my answer is yes, either, or, any, yes please, I'll start anywhere. I often think about, in songwriting, I'm always thinking that there are as many ways to write a song as there are songs. So it's sort of like I'm always trying to just find the entry point to the song. There's sort of like a song in here and it just has this outer crust, and I'm always just looking for the entry point. So maybe it's a lyric, like a lyrical idea really gets me through into the song. Maybe it's the music, I'm playing some chords and that will get me through into the song. And so yeah, I've written songs where I just do the music first and then I come back and write lyrics. I've written songs where I just write out lyrics, then I come back and add music. I've also done it where I'm doing both at the same time, where I'm sort of messing around with the chords and I'm messing around with lyrics and things kind of start to stick together. Yes, so the answer to that is there are as many ways to write a song as there are songs. Another approach to the lyric writing is to do mumbo jumbo lyrics. So I do this very often. I'll probably do it, when I go to write this song in a minute. And from the mumbo jumbo lyrics, normally there'll be something in there that sort of resonates in it and it works. And I tend to discard the rest of it and sort of use the lyrics that work and then sort of flesh it out from there. And then when it comes to the chords, I normally am thinking about the mood of the song will often dictate the tempo and it will often dictate the chords. So how often they change, like whether I change it really fast or whether I hold a chord for a really long time, or whether I'm using more minor key chords if it's a more like sad introspective song. So they're some of the main creative choices that I'm normally going through. So I'm going to write a song right now, and the way I'm going to do it is normally, if I was doing this, live interacting with you, I would be asking for a couple of prompters, a couple of words to get us going. But because we don't have that, I decided to get this random word generator happening. These were the ones that came up earlier, but I'm gonna click this button and I'm gonna get 3 new random words and I'm gonna work with whatever comes up. So I'm gonna get pen, paper, and here we go. All right. Feign, bark, unpleasant. Okay. So I don't know if you had the same experience as me. When those 3 words come up, imagery starts to come up immediately, and almost a story starts to evolve almost straight away. So especially with bark and unpleasant, because I started to see a dog, and then the unpleasant bit, someone was attacked by the dog. And then even as I'm sort of talking this out, the feigning part, maybe someone pretended that they got attacked by a dog so they could get attention, or they did something else and they have to come up with an alibi as to why they're injured. So it's amazing how the brain will... Oh, are we back here? Yeah, there we go. Amazing how the brain will start to make creative connections between completely random words. They just came out of nowhere. And so I'm gonna use this process that we just talked about, and I'm gonna start working with this song. So let's start with the theme or concept. So if I was doing this on my own, I would take a lot more time to do this, but I'm really just gonna show you the basic way that this works. So I'm gonna go through it really quickly. So the theme or concept, I'm actually gonna go with this sort of idea that someone was injured and they have to pretend that they were attacked by a dog so they don't get caught out. So, pretending to be injured. Injured to hide a bad behavior. All right, cool. So we've got a theme right there. Mood or feeling. So the mood or feeling I'm getting from this is that there's actually, I don't know, deception is not really a mood, I suppose, but there's deception, there's lying, there's sadness in the other person, that this person is lying to them. The mood is also, this person is quite panicked. Panicked, but trying to be calm. So when I think of those, I guess the main moods that are coming through is probably sadness. And then images. Yeah, I'm sort of seeing that this guy comes home and the tone and the image is actually quite sort of dark. It's quite cinematic. They come home and they're injured and their wife is there and they're asking, what happened? And this person is sort of telling this story. So the imagery is dark, cinematic, dramatic. All right, cool. Tempo. The tempo I kind of am feeling it's going to be mid-tempo. You see how I haven't even touched the guitar and I'm starting to write the song. The song's quarter of the way written. So it's mid-tempo. And now I'm starting to think of kind of stylistically what it's like, almost like country, a bit of country swagger or something like that with some attitude. Okay. Hope this is making sense to you. All right. That's it. So that's the main part sort of done. I've got these words: feign, bark, unpleasant. Okay. So another thing to point out here, you can see that where we got to, it's related to where we started, but it's not directly related. So there's a bit of the feigning, which is sort of the lying. There's nothing really about the bark except for this idea of a dog, and the unpleasantness is this injury. So we've sort of started here, and as we've extrapolated it, we've sort of ended up somewhere else, but now we have the starting point for a song that I would not have come up with that just out of the blue, just sitting here thinking about it. So all right, so I'm gonna move this down a little bit so you can kind of see what I'm doing on the guitar. And I'll start writing and we'll see what happens here. So I'm just gonna speed up the video and stuff so you don't have to sit through all this, but you can kind of see me explore how this happens. So here we go. Okay, cool. So I've got some chords happening here. It's kind of this dark country swagger, bit of attitude sort of vibe. That I feel like that's, it's got this nice rumble and roll to it and got a bit of vibe to it. And then I'm gonna write some lyrics now, and on this idea, this story that we've come up with. So here we go. Okay, this just came out. As he wanders in from the night, bringing with him the morning light, dragging in the evening mud from the back door to the bathroom, a trail of blood. All right, cool. That's one verse. not bad for a first shot from a random song. And I might just go straight into a chorus. So there's sort of a verse that sets up the story. So he wanders in from the night, bringing with him the morning light. So he's obviously coming in, at that shift. He's been out all night. He's been doing something. He's coming in as the sun's coming up. He drags in the evening's mud. So he's been out there doing something. He drags in all this mud. And then also from the back door to the bathroom, there's a trail of blood. Ooh, what's he been up to? So now let's quickly write some kind of chorus that summarizes what happens. Maybe a dialogue between the two characters. Here we go. Okay, so got some lyrics for a chorus. Doesn't fully go into yet talking about how he was attacked by a dog or any of that stuff. I reckon we would need a second verse to do that. But here is a chorus, and I'll sing it for you, and then I'll tell you the lyrics, and then I'll play both of them together, and we'll see how it goes. All right, so here we go. Where have you... So this is a dialogue between the woman and the man who's come home bleeding. Where have you been, my darling one? Sorry, my love, that I had to run. I'm just so glad you're safely home. Never again will I carelessly roam. Could probably just repeat that or do something else with it. And let's put them both together, if I can remember how the first part went. All right. Bit of a... Get the country vibe happening. As he wandered in from the night, bringing with him the morning light, dragging in the evening's mud from the back door to the bathroom, trail of blood. She said, where have you been, my darling one? Sorry, my love, that I had to run. I'm just so glad you're safely home. Never again will I carelessly roam. Where have you been, my darling one? Sorry, my love, that I had to run. I'm so glad you're safely home. Never again will I carelessly roam. Into this second verse. There we go. How's that? We just wrote a song. Very happy you were there for that. Who knows, I might continue working on that. There are the lyrics. Look at that. Almost no edits. It obviously could use some work, but that's pretty cool, right? We just spent a little bit of time there. That probably took 5 to 10 minutes or something to start that process. And I hope you found that really interesting to see where songs come from. They really just come out of thin air. And it's sort of just the trusting of, my mind that it's going to create these creative connections and it's going to develop a story, and that I've got enough guitar skills to sort of play around and get something happening. So let me know in the comments below what you liked about that process. If you've got lyric ideas for this song, send them through. If you have any other ideas or anything you want to add, please leave them in the comments below and I'll respond to them once you do. So that's pretty cool. I don't want this video to go too much longer, but I wanted to play you a song to finish off with. Maybe before I do, just some of the wrapping up comments is, if you want to download this little worksheet for this, the songwriting process, and some of the creative exercises are in there as well, then please do that. The song I'm about to play is the song that I wrote when I went to Iceland. I think I wrote it on the second or third day of being there, and it's on my album Golden Moment. You can get a free download of it next to this video, somewhere around this video, you can check that out. And the next video part 3 of 4, will come out in a few days' time. It's going to be all about how I get ready to do performances, even how I get ready to do, make a video like this for you. And I'm going to share with you how I prepare for the gig, how I manage stage fright or any sort of performance anxiety stuff that comes up. As most people know, the number one fear for humans is public speaking. And so, weird stuff comes up around that, and that's been a long journey as well as a performer. And I'll tell you about a few of the pre-game rituals that I do. Some of them are pretty funny, and you probably wouldn't expect artists to do these sorts of things, but these are the kinds of things that really get me in the zone. So when I go to perform, I'm ready to rock. Please leave me a comment below. Tell me what was your favorite part of this songwriting video. Were there any insights you had, any things you learnt about that were new that you want to reflect back and share? That would be great. And I would love for you to have a go of going through this songwriting process with no expectation. If you go back to the thing of having no expectation and just playing and just exploring your creativity, I would love you to do that. And then please share your experience in the comments below. That would be awesome. If you know anyone else who get value from this video, if you know any other songwriters or any creative people, feel free to send them the URL, or even better, you can send them the link that's in the workbook, at the bottom of the workbook, so that they can jump onto my email list and they can become, part of these video series and things in the future. That would be awesome. So thanks again. I'll play this song. So this song's called "Oh Raven," and this song really, to me, sort of symbolizes the beginnings of my songwriting, growth or career or something along those lines. I love this song, and so here it is, called "Oh Raven." Thanks for checking this out. Hope you enjoyed it. Get in touch, and here we go with "Oh Raven." I did keep your heavy body in the air by only your black feathery oars in your beating chest. Oh, your chest, you're bobbing and you're breathing like you're drowning boy out at sea, and you labor and you lumber against all of gravity's favor. Oh, Raven, do your eyes, do they freeze over? Does it give you a hurting head to breathe all this heatless air? Oh, Raven, oh, how do you stay up there? your phosphorescence, oh sunrise. Where do you get all your gold? Why are you so hard to hold? Oh sunrise, oh you and Raven, oh you and Raven are my only friends. So there you have Oh Raven. You can get your free download of it. Go write a song. Thanks for tuning in. Hope you found that interesting. Look forward to seeing you in the next video, which will be in a couple of days' time. And hope you have a great couple of days until then. Leave me a comment below. Talk to you soon. Peace out. Bye.